Okay, so for those watching the video, this is 2019 paper 2 question 10, but vectors is on the pre-release information for paper 1 for us. And this is quite an unusual question, doesn't use three-dimensional vectors. It's more like a GCSE question. So we're told about a triangle. We're told the journey from O to A is called little a, and the journey from O to B is called little b. Those are the only roads that we know. And we're told there's a point C, which is a continuation of this line, and from A to C, from O to C, I've labelled that wrong, haven't I? From O to C is two lots of O to A, so actually that's just another A, isn't it? That's another A. So, yeah, I've drawn that wrong then, but anyway, that's just the same as that. We've got this midpoint, so that's halfway along that line, and we're told that that line, when we continue it, hits OB at N, and in a minute we've got to work out something about that. So the first three things I'm going to ask you to do are, how can I get from A to B on roads that I know? N is halfway along that line, so can I write, I've got A to B, can I write a description of A to M? And this is all going to be in terms of little a's and little b's, no numbers involved. And then what about from C to M? If I can get from A to M, can I get from C to M? So those are the first three things to try. So A to B minus A plus B. A to M is just half of A to B, so it's as simple as writing it like that. Half minus half of A, half of B, and then C to M, that's backwards along another A, and then along A to M. So it's minus A, and then that vector just whacked in there, which gives us this. Okay, they now asked about the journey from O to N. Now we don't know how far along OB N is, so I can't just say O to N equals some fraction of B, although we've got to prove that actually it's 2/3, but we can't just say that. So I've got to think, okay, I don't know this journey yet. Can I get from O to N in a different way? And you can, it's the most ridiculous detour you could imagine, but you can go all the way up here. And then all the way down here. Now, I don't know this journey here, but I do know something about it in relation to C to N, which I've just defined. So what can you tell me, Aidan, about C to N in relation to C to M?
It has to be like a multiple of it.
Yeah. These two vectors, C to M and C to N, are parallel. They're going in the same direction. And all it means is that C to N will be some multiple of this. So I can say, right, to get from O to N, I go up 2 A's, and then I need to get from C to N. And C to N is some multiple of this. And for reasons which will become clear in a moment, I'm going to call that multiplier lambda. I get the Greek letters mixed up sometimes. So it's and I might, in my solution at this point, write something like, because C to N is parallel to C to M. That's why I can write it as a multiplier there. Now, we've got to show that O to N equals this, and I'm hoping that if you multiply all that out, you're going to get there. Well, I say I'm hoping, I know you will. So I've got my 2 A's, I've got minus 3 over 2a times lambda, and a half b times lambda. And can you then see what they've done there? All they've done is they've just said, right, I've got two things that involve a, so it's almost like a backwards factorising, isn't it? Rather than pulling the a out the front, we've put it at the end. So I've got an expression for O to n going this circuitous route. But I actually know something about O to n going this way. I don't know what fraction of b it is, but I know that it doesn't involve any a at all. So O to n going this way is just some fraction of b. There's no a involved at all. So that tells me that in this version of O to n, that's got to equal 0. Because O to n actually doesn't involve any a movement at all. So O to n equals just some b, no a. So I know that this, the number of a's in that expression must equal 0. So go and work out the value of lambda. So we get lambda's 4/3. Lambda's 4/3. Because I know that I worked out how to get from O to n, that's the circuitous route, but I know that that's the same as this journey here, and this journey here doesn't involve any a's, so that's got to be 0. So how am I going to finish it off, Aidan? What do I now do?
Outside it. So the O to n.
Yeah. So actually, now I know what lambda is. I can substitute it into O to n, and I know that's going to give me no a's. So I know the a stuff is all going to. So I'm moving up here. So O to n equals no a's, and a half of lambda b will be a half of 4/3, 2/3 b. So what I've shown is that this journey is 2/3 of that journey, and hence the thing we're trying to show. O to n to b is 2 to 1. That's another way of saying it's 2/3 away longer. It's 3 shares, it's 2 shares and 1 share. Now, if I hadn't chosen lambda as my multiplier, if I'd chosen another letter, x, y, z, whatever, it would have been fine, because hopefully I would have realised when I got to this point that actually I've got what they wanted. So if you didn't recognise that you needed to use lambda as a multiplier, it doesn't matter, you could have just switched it. Okay.